and welcome to another production from Twice Rolled Tales, Chicago Fae, a Call of Cthulhu multi-part series. We'll see how long it is when we get to it. Exciting. This is set during the World's Fair in 1893. Chicago is 20 years recovered from nearly being burned to the ground and hosts a thriving community from people who've been there for generations and have come from all over the world. And with people come their folklore tucked in their pockets, up their shirt sleeves, are the spirits and tales they bring with them. And here in Chicago, in the battle for modernity and in the shining city, which many say represents the soul of America, may not, in fact, be the whole story. Before we get into the meat of the fair, I think we should go around and introduce ourselves. I am Linnie Schell. I'll be your keeper for the evening. Everyone go around, say hi.
I'm Phoebe. I will be playing Spitz this evening. Spitz is about 9 years old, although they would not be able to tell you that themselves. Just purely for lack of not really being sure when they were born. Just the grimiest little street urchin you've ever seen.
Shawn?
Hi, I'm Shawn. I'll be playing Phineas B. Wheel, a young up-and-coming factory inspector in New York. Very concerned about both the fire 20 years ago and the potential of fires in the future. Very concerned about really a lot of things in general. Not a real low resting heart rate in general.
Incredible. Emily?
Amazing. Hi, my name's Emily, and I'll be playing Marion Mudd. She is an investigative journalist new into town from Atlanta, Georgia. She's about 5'8", she's kind of tall, with strawberry blonde hair. She's wearing like nice-ish, but a little bit raggedy clothes as well. Very new to the city, though.
Brett?
And I'll be playing Maura Brady of Boston Brady's. That's my shop. You guys can come and purchase my wares if you wish. She's from Boston originally, but moved to Chicago for like better opportunities, and so far that's been working out okay.
Incredible. Yeah, that's great. So before we start the full meat of our story, I'd like to take us back, before the fair even opened, to a dark Tuesday night, to Moira's store, in the back room. The lights are low, and she is bent over tomes of somewhat forgotten lore and dubious authenticity, prepared to find out what happens. What do you think, what kind of ritual is Maura prepared right now? Describe what she has laid out.
This is sort of like a catch-all, as she would call it. We have a circle of salt in the middle of the room. We have some symbols and various alphabets just sort of like drawn in some suspect liquids.
Scrolls.
Absolutely.
Everywhere akimbo.
Some obtained from just like being dropped off on her porch, and she's like, okay, and others that she purchases through more legitimate means. She's got there's a summoning circle with runes and various alphabets, just sort of like throwing anything at the wall that might work. It's very much like a Russian nesting doll of summoning circles that she has going on in the middle of the room on like the old floorboards. There's a circle of salt around that, and then hovering above it is like one of those like iron chandeliers, candles removed, and then she's sort of like jerry-rigged that to like be ready to spring if she needs to. She's just kind of holding on to it though.
Incredible. What does she say as she prepares to activate this spell?
I think she's just sort of been like mumbling to herself for the last 3 hours. Like, oh, here we go.
Incredible.
All right.
Give me a hard intelligence check.
Is hard half?
Yeah.
I failed.
Okay, incredible. Yes. So as you're holding this rope, you've been holding on to it for a good bit. And just as your nose starts to itch a little bit, you hear in the back room a cacophony of noise, like in a side closet. It sounds like someone has appeared inside of a closet, and as you're listening, the door comes flying open, and a small man with jet black horse ears rolls to a stop, kind of like right by the circle. Says, Fuck was that? You gotta, if you're gonna be bleeding putting a calling card out here, you might as well, open the door to a fellow.
This is amazing.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay. I'm not here. This is a dream.
No, it's not.
You're going to...
I know what a dream feels like. It doesn't feel like real.
It's a dream.
May I shake your hand?
Yeah, I think he's gonna, put a paw and say, see, nothing here. Nothing. Ah! He's gonna jump back and then, fall into the salt a little bit, so he's, standing, lying by your feet, and he's just, shaking it off. He's why? Yes, fine, alright, I'm here. See, here, this is me.
Who is me?
I'm not gonna bleed into... You can call me Jimmy.
Jimmy. Okay.
Jimmy, and where's the door? I'm just gonna be, thank you for the unexpected,
No, no, yeah, of course. This is great. I just wanted to know. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't insane, and I'm not insane because you're here, and I've touched you, and I felt you, and you're real, and therefore, yeah, you can go. It's all fine. Don't worry about it. No big deal.
Glad I have reassured you that you were a paragon of sanity. Yep, that's sure is you.
Well, of course, yes, because you're here. Logic dictates that now I am sane.
But you're not gonna trap me. I'm walking out this door right now. You're okay with that? He's
Absolutely.
Backing out to the front door.
This was all just more of a safety measure, just in case somebody tried to murder me.
He takes a look around, and this place is festooned with witchery artifacts. He's yeah. Oh. Yeah, maybe best not be trying more of this without a little bit of research. Far from...
She looks at this massive pile of books, and she's more research required? This isn't enough?
Many years, yes. Many years. Gotta have some gray hairs before many more years.
Of course, yes. No, I'm fully dedicating my life to this. The art of practicing.
He just doffs his hat. He's best of luck. Don't die, I guess.
I'll try.
Remember, this was but a dream.
Sure, Jim.
And you can hear him walk out, and then the door to your shop opens and closes. You don't hear from Jim for another couple of months, but then every week or so, and then as the fair draws nearer, increasingly, you find requests, written on scraps of, the scraps of potato wrappings, and just this man clearly has no access to paper. A lot of horse racing tickets, just the things newspaper, things people toss in the trash. So you find written requests to essentially ferry things that are left at your door to different locations. And as the fair has gotten closer, the packages have gotten heavier, and you've had to go deeper and deeper into the fair and leave them in very odd places. And you're not really sure what's it about, but you know that every time you do leave it successfully and you don't look in it, you do receive, some scrap of, it's not always occult, it's not always about the supernatural, but they're always useful, interesting tidbits or herbs, things that have kind of been picked up somewhere and deposited as sort of a thanks. Yeah.
Jim.
I don't think you've seen Jim since this happened, but who else could this be from?
Right.
Who else could this be from? Yeah, so as we draw closer to the fair, the influx of visitors has absolutely been a boon to your shop. You have, been able to peddle your wares and to take advantage of the spiritualism movement sweeping the country.
I do a lot of aura cleansings. Yeah, a lot of tarot card readings, palm readings. Iris readings. That one's been big recently. She's making her money.
Yeah, she's doing okay. Let's pivot away from Mora, right, Mora?
More, yeah.
Mora, oh god. Now I'm overthinking it. Pivot away from Mora, to a newer arrival to the city, who is currently residing in Miss Punctuous's, boarding house for single women. The very top attic floor. It is boiling hot, a very small room. You can see a cot on one side and a little desk that has a Remington typewriter stacked up on it, and just a bunch of papers. And we find Marianne, who has recently come to this city. And you have on your desk some correspondence from Mr. Pendergast, along with a request to meet him the following morning. So what brings Mora to the city, and what does she might do with her evening?
Well, Marion was originally from Atlanta and until very, very recently called it home. She was a fairly successful journalist in the city and made her living telling the stories of all sorts of residents of Atlanta, from the highest positions of government to the people working on the factory floors. And until very recently, that was her livelihood, but at the moment it seems like she can't quite return back to Atlanta. So when she was contacted by Mr. Pendergast, she took it as an opportunity to start over. She hasn't met him yet, but she's excited to make his acquaintance and learn what she can help with around here. She's known for being a little bit bombastic in style. It's not for everybody, but he seems to appreciate her.
So as we wind the days forward, we're now in the morning of July 10th, a beautiful sunny morning.
June 10th?
July
10th.
July 10th, right? Isn't it July 10th?
It is now.
But it is now.
It's whatever the July or June 10th that is important to Phineas, which I believe is July.
Well...
No, it's got to be July 10th, because that's
yeah.
what Wikipedia said, and also for other
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
historical reasons it matters. It's
If July... July 10th of day before July 11th fame.
No, the morning of July 10th is the important day.
What happens. Phineas is here.
Great. Doesn't matter.
One person at this table can tell the future, and it's only if I make a successful check.
Okay, yes. The sunny morning of July 10th, a man is walking down a train platform. Behind him, a locomotive has exploded into a shower of flames, lightning, and in sand. No one around him seems to notice this, as he walks completely unbothered away from this explosion. A slight, oozing wound, oozing blood from his neck. And we see Phineas B. Wheel finally arrive to Chicago. Beside him, almost unnoticed, is Spitz. What do you guys do here? I mean, we'll start with Phineas. What's Phineas feeling?
And this is why safety inspection standards in all industry workplaces are so important. That's not even the worst train ride of my life. And it's due in no small part to the working conditions that those conductors and engineers are put under. And I can't help but think it's a bad sign that coming here based on reports of the earlier June fires in Chicago and the harbinger of all of this, that we literally got here on a flaming train. Spitz, thoughts?
That was my first time on a train.
I don't believe that, actually. Spitz, how long were you on that train?
Like as long as you were.
I don't believe
What?
that either.
Do you want to give me a psychology roll?
Dude, my sense at this point is that Spitz has always been on that train. Yeah, can I make some sort of roll to
Yeah, sure.
Are trains not usually like that?
I again think you might know better than me. 27. 6 on a psychology. That passes.
Yeah. Spitz is telling the truth, man.
Spitz is being straight up with you, and they're very confused as to why you think they're lying. Because, like, usually when people think Spitz is lying, it's true, and this is not one of those cases. They've never been falsely accused of lying before.
I'm sorry, it's been a long morning.
So we have Phineas B. Wheel and Spitz here. As you guys are chatting about that, you hear the conductor say, all aboard the train, all aboard the train through the fair, stops off at Midway Palace. We've got the Zoo Practical exhibits, we've got Wild West shows, the Ferris wheel, stops at Midway, continuing up through to the States exhibitions and the wooded areas. All aboard, all aboard.
Spitz, I'm so sorry. I assumed for some reason that you must be an unaccompanied minor, but based on your responses, it seems that clearly you just, I just was confused.
I'm fully good.
Okay.
I'm fully good.
So you have a guardian?
I got a wrench.
Are you getting on that train?
How big is the fair? Because, like,
I mean, there's 100,000 people here.
Yeah.
This is massive. As you pull,
Okay.
as you walk in, no one seems to have noticed this train pull in, explode, and you guys barely make it out. A lone wheel kind of rolls past. But you see people coming from all over the country, of all nationalities, coming in on various trains, and immediately departing, going different trains. It is a throng of people here. And you can see, straight across the train tracks, the cold storage, which you know is the location of some very unsafe fire hazard practices. And then you can see that there's train boarding here, which is like the internal fair train, so that runs kind of through here and up through here. So everyone comes in on this train, and then if you want to get around the fair, you can either enter here, walk around, or take the train up here. And this is the Midway place, Midway Piazzance, I think. Call it Midway. So the Ferris wheel is here, as well as the Zoopractological Hall, and some other things.
Yes, I think Spitz is gonna get on that train. It looks like it goes around around thing. You can always hop off a train whenever you want.
Yeah. The conductor assumes you're with someone else and sort of just like waves you on.
Hops up onto the train, finds a seat, hops into it, little legs kind of going back and forth.
This is not a safe place for children. Child labor laws are under my purview. Phineas is gonna add a distance, follow Spitz onto that train, and like be on maybe the other side of the car, but like be checking things out.
Incredible.
Spitz is just vibrating with excitement. Spitz is New York gutter trash and who's stowed away on a train to Chicago because they heard there were gonna be some crazy animals at this fair. And, there's only so many, so far that a story about how you saw a goldfish once at the Central Park Menagerie are gonna get you, like, needs new material.
Incredible. The conductor says, tickets, sir?
Oh, yes. Do I have one of those?
No.
I do not have one of those.
Sir, if you don't have tickets, you can pay here on the fair. It's going to be $3. If you want the reduced rate, you got to go buy the entrance ticket over there. It comes with a free pass. But sorry, no tickets, no entry.
I'm just like backing off the train. I don't do well in high pressure situations. I'm so sorry, sir. Where did you say that booth was?
Over there, right over there.
Okay,
It's right over. It's got
Okay.
big sign, tickets.
Yep. So sorry, sir.
Tickets. Go get tickets.
I am going to go get my
Okay,
tickets.
cool. Tickets, anyone? Tickets. All right, cool. All aboard. Last call. You can see Spitz's little face. The train chugs off.
I go buy my ticket.
What do you do afterwards? Are you gonna go with the fair? Are you gonna try to chase after Spitz?
And I can get a ticket where basically I can get on this train for the rest of the weekend as necessary. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to make my way towards the greatest refrigerator on Earth, the cold storage building.
Incredible. Yeah, all right.
Which I believe is walking distance from
so
where I
you
am.
Pop off and it's right here. Very convenient. It's where it actually is located. No map trickery here. Okay, cool. So Spitz is up here. So Spitz, as you travel through, you can see more people than you've ever seen outside of New York, which isn't saying anything. You've never been outside of New York. This seems honestly fairly normal. Wow, it's the same thing again. Surely there'll be more animals here, and it'll make it worth it. So you get to Midway. Conductor says, "All stops to the zoo practicological exhibit, the Ferris wheel. It's not strictly licensed, but everyone asks. Buffalo Bill's Wild West show is also here. It's not part of the fair. You'll have to buy an extra ticket. No, I can't do anything about that. Do not ask me. It is not my purview, but it's here if you want it."
Could I roll something to see if Spitz would be able to tell that a zoopractological exhibit is where animals would be?
Yeah, give me an education check.
Okay. Oh, so close. No. That being said, they heard Wild West show. Seems like there's at least gonna be some horsies.
I will say that your failure on that roll means that you do not understand that the zoopractological exhibit does not have animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
You hear zoo, and that seems reasonable. But yes, you also hear the Wild West show.
I heard Wild West show. I heard the word zoo. I'm like, okay, this seems like a spot for animals. And so Spitz is gonna hop off the train.
Incredible. Okay, cool.
Very confident that they will not need to buy a ticket to a Wild West show.
Sorry, we're gonna... That's where it's actually located. I just forgot to draw it on. Okay, great. So Spitz hops out. Let's pivot briefly back to Mora and Marion. Mora, when you woke up, you found on your doorstep a very heavy bundle of, it sounds like canisters. You're not really sure. At this point, you're a little afraid to ask. It says a note that says, cold storage, leave by leave by the west corner. Don't be seen, and a little like smiley face and a horse hoof print. Were emoticons invented by then? Doesn't matter. Jimmy knows.
The concept of a smiley face is probably not too far off.
So you find that on your doorstep, and you're familiar enough with the fair after a couple of months that you know exactly where this is.
She like how big is it? Is it like?
It's like a big basket, like a.
Oh, so it has handles.
It has handles, yeah. Like, think like a wash basket.
Okay, so she like gives it a test lift, and she's like, okay, all right. Don't be seen. And I'm taking this here?
Yeah.
The cold storage?
So earlier this morning.
Okay, so she has put like a towel on top to make it look like just regular laundry, because that is the most she can think of at this moment. Less questions. Although a woman taking laundry from one side of Chicago all the way to the other side of Chicago, possibly also suspicious. She's trying not to think about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that you do live here. Let's say that you live... let's say you live here.
Okay, so it's not too far. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she like kind of trucks over to the cold storage. And the west corner, I'm assuming this is north.
Yes, north.
So she's like, there are two west corners. There's the northwest corner, and there's the southwest corner. She kind of like looks and she's like, just like leaves it at the southwest corner.
Incredible. Let's see. As you're doing that, you walk off. Can you give me a stealth check for that?
Mm-hmm. Definitely not.
Cool. You see some sort of, it's like some normal guys, but they kind of carry themselves with a little bit more authority. You think when they get closer to you, like they have the kind of undercover cop vibe, and you see one of them come up and say, "Sorry, is this yours, ma'am? Did you leave this behind? We don't."
I did not, actually. I was just checking to see if it had a baby in it, because people have been leaving babies by corners in laundry baskets recently, and that is absolutely not what you want someone to do. It's not babies. It's like a bunch of cans or something. I assume it's a donation or it needs to be kept cold. I don't know what this building does. I'm just a woman. So, yeah, no babies here. Sorry, just trying to do my civic duty. I'm sure you gentlemen are as well, making sure that I am not a suspicious character.
Give me a persuasion or a quick talk, whatever you've got.
I have charm.
Yeah, give me a charm.
I make it.
You make it. They say, yeah, okay, this needs to be taken inside? Cold storage?
I don't know. I didn't put it here, so I wouldn't
I mean, it's
know
cans. Yeah, I'll take it inside. This makes sense.
that. Okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a freezer. What else would you do with cans?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a dry storage thing. I wouldn't know. I'm a woman. She just like keeps saying that.
You guys are like, yeah, of course. I'll take this in. Yeah, and they trundle it inside. Give me an So as you're walking away, give me an investigate or a spot hidden rather.
Oh no.
Okay, cool.
Almost a critical failure.
Cool. So you pop off. I wonder what that was about. It's probably nothing.
The less questions I ask, the fewer questions I ask, the fewer bad things happen, and the more good things happen. And that's what I want, is to not be involved in whatever the fuck that was. And she leaves. She goes home fully like, all right, gotta go tend the shop.
All right. And also this morning, Marion has an appointment with Mr. Pendergast, who is a newspaper distributor who has become very passionate about the unsafe locations of the railroads currently. There's so many railroads coming in and out, and really a lot of this transportation needs to be elevated so that the passersby are not affected by being hit by trains all the time, which I have been told is often fatal. Yeah, so you get, let's say the board house is, where do you want it to be? Somewhere in here.
I would say probably like among the cheap locations, you know, by the tracks. Yeah, over here.
Yeah, let's say, see, Mr. Pender's gas office is somewhere over here. Yeah, so you have an appointment kind of 10 o'clock in the morning with him. Is there anything you want to do before you go straight to your appointment?
Yeah, Marion's going to kind of pack her bag for the day and also put the finishing touches on a letter she's sending home to Atlanta, actually. It is to a woman named Florence Carlton, and she seals it up, puts a little like wax seal on it, and gives it a little kiss before like tucking it in her bag today, so she can drop it off on her way over to her appointment.
Awesome. So yeah, as you walk with no issue to find Mr. Pendergast's place, you're immediately struck when you walk in. A lot of the letters you got from Mr. Pendergast were quite well, thoughtfully worded, and he really gave the impression that he was, a newspaper distributor of some note with connections and sort of access as an up-and-coming journalist to the Chicago newspaper scene. As you're entering, it's on the third floor of this building. The staircase is narrow. Everything squeaks. There's an unpleasant aura of dampness and decay throughout everything. You get the door to Mr. Pendergast's office has clearly been under multiple owners very recently. The name has been sort of scratched off and repainted and scratched off and repainted, so you can see the traces of the people who'd been there in the last couple of almost months even. And you knock on the door, and you hear a voice that says, "Oh, hello, yep, come in."
Mr. Pendergast?
Yep, that's me, hello? And the door's wrenched open. Hello!
Hi.
Are you Miss Mudd? Ms. Mudd?
It's Marion. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Oh, I am delighted you are here, Miss Mudd. I'm delighted to have another person for this cause, someone who understands railroad safety.
Of course.
Come on in, come on in.
Of course. I thought I would find you in somewhat more spacious accommodations, but, we do what we must,
times being what they are, people aren't as interested in the written word.
Absolutely.
Here, have a seat. He clears off, like, piles of newspaper on, like, the one tiny chair in front of his office. And he says, now, I realize that you are new to the town and still establishing yourself, but do you know the mayor of this town?
Mayor Harrison, is that right?
The one, the only. God damn him.
Ah, yes. You had spoken a little bit about him in your letters.
I want you to find information that will ruin him. He has made false promises to me, and he has not maintained the safety of this town, and something must be done. The public does not know and will remain ignorant. I have been suppressed at every turn. My letters have fallen upon deaf ears, and we must take drastic action.
I'm so sorry to hear that, sir. Can you tell me a little more? Like, I'm happy to poke around, see what I can find, but if there's anything I can specifically look for.
Let me tell you. So when I first started my journey here to the illustrious city of Chicago, I knew that I could make my mark upon this town, and I knew that my support for Mr. Harrison was going to be key in putting a just and resilient leader in place who was going to take the safety of this population seriously. And so, upon his appointment, I of course assumed that I would get the necessary requisite honors, by which I mean an appointment to a government position where I can do some good. And imagine my surprise upon my loyal support during his campaign as my status as newspaper distributor, that I was not awarded this highest honor, but instead resoundingly ignored. Can you imagine?
I see. She takes out her little notebook and her turkey feather quill. It's a little large, a little ridiculous. Starts just writing down a couple notes. And, sir, did he promise you this appointment?
In word and in deed. I have no record of this, but it did happen.
I see. Right. Have you spoken to him at all since his election?
I have been refused entry at his office at every turn.
I see. Huh.
I know only that he is a hypocrite and a liar, and even if it were not for my own, my own misgivings and hurt, I know others in this town have similar grievances. Speak to any union worker. He comes to the meetings. He comes maybe one of the few leaders of industry who is even permitted to attend without, some vigorous encouragement to be elsewhere. And yet all of his policies thus passed are staunchly anti-union, and yet his forward support convinces many that he is in fact genuine, although what he actually passes doesn't reflect that. His desire to turn profit for personal gain, although he professes that whenever he receives said profit, that it is in the service of the greater city, is, from his dealings with his family plantation, despite his, abhorrence of any enslaved practices, I think this man is a hypocrite of the finest order, and anything he's had a hand in. This Ferris wheel, for example, he was a staunch supporter, and it's supposed to be bringing in an enormous amount of money for the city, and yet they're talking about closing it. It's the most peculiar thing.
Unbelievable. So, this is some very strong allegations.
I feel passionately.
I know. And believe me, I have experience with those who may be in double dealing somehow. But I will do my best to search out some answers for you. I don't take kindly to people who say one thing and act in another way. I can understand where you're coming from.
No one said that in a very long time.
Of course.
I appreciate that, Miss Budd.
Of course. When should I report back to you?
Immediately?
Well, I'll need a little more time than that, but don't you worry. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can.
That's all I can ask. He stands up to ushers you out and trips over some of his paper and kind of lunges at the door to open it for you.
Catch his arm a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. Here, thank you.
Of course. I'll see you soon then.
Incredible. He says, thank you. Yes, of course. Thank you. Slams the door in your face. Amazing. All right, so what are you gonna do after that? What do you think you...
Yeah. I think she's going to try and get the lay of the land a little bit. Maybe find some people who might know something a little bit more about the mayor's dealings. Maybe talk to some union workers or something like that if they are present at the fair. Maybe check out the Ferris wheel just to see what that is even like.
Awesome. All right, let's pop back to, let's say Spitz, who is just popping off the train. Where's Spitz? What's Spitz up to?
Spitz is looking for animals. What could Spitz see?
Spitz can't read, right?
No.
Okay, Spitz can't
Not a word.
Yeah, so you give me an investigate check.
Oh, that's a 13.
All right, cool. Yeah, so you hear people talking about the zoopraxicological exhibit, and you hear someone saying, well, it was very impressive. The moving pictures was, I've never seen the like, but they really should be a little clearer that it's pictures only. I can imagine if I brought my nephew, he would be a little upset that we're actually able to see animals. So, mixed bag. I'm sure they'll do something delightful with this in the future. And the person says, no, just a fad. Nothing's going to come of it. Moving pictures? No, I don't see it. I think it's too impractical. And then you also can hear clear across the square, action, adventure, romance, and come see Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. We've got horses. We've got sharpshooters. We've got every live action event you could hope to see. Hear Tales of the Wild West. Come here, get your tickets.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty dope. All right.
And you can just smell the horses. You're familiar with this from, watching cabs in the streets of New York a little bit.
Running from cops.
Yep. You hear the familiar sound of horse hooves, but these, as you get closer, you can tell these are not cabbie horses. These are Mustangs. These are horses that have been accustomed to running free. There's an air of wildness about this place, carefully cultivated, of course. And you can see a couple of people dressed in traditional frontiers, costuming. And yeah, it seems very loud and exciting.
Hell yeah. Spitz would like to sneak inside.
Incredible. Give me a stealth check.
That passes.
Yeah.
Technically.
Technically?
My stealth is 80. And that was an 80.
Wild. Okay, incredible.
Spitz is very small and scrappy.
Yeah, honestly, Spitz shouldn't even need to run stealth rolls. But yeah, so you duck in, absolutely no problem, underneath the ticketer's eyes. Yeah, and so you see there's bleachers and stuff set out, and you could definitely kind of hide underneath a bleacher or fence. Do you want to stay out of the way or be very up close?
Spitz wants to get as close as they can, but also be under the bleachers, because sometimes people will drop food down there. So
Oh no.
Big if true.
Yeah, Spitz is grimy, guys.
Spitz is the filthiest child you've ever seen.
That's saying something.
Yeah, so Spitz, so you post up underneath the bleacher, and you're feeling good. No one has really seen you. And the show begins, and it is a dashing tale of acrobatics. There are people riding on horses. They flip up and over on each other's backs, and generally the amount of horses in such a constrained space is honestly a miracle of transportation, logistics, and training. And they narrate a lot of tall tales about the Wild West, which honestly Spitz eats right up. This seems absolutely true. There is no falsehoods here. Of course, there was only glory and adventure to be had in the Wild West. You see some sharpshooters demonstrate some remarkable accuracy. You see some tall tale tellers. As intermission starts, so everyone starts milling around, you've accumulated quite a large pile of popcorn that is sort of just like dropped down. You're kind of catching it like this. You're sitting there munching your popcorn. You hear a little voice that says, "Hey, kid, can I have some of that popcorn? Some of that popcorn?"
Where's it coming from? What's that? Who's that?
And you hear it coming down from like right below your feet, and you see a rabbit sitting there. Give me a nature check or something akin to that.
Like natural world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, natural world or intelligence, or natural world or education if you...
I'll go with just education. No.
Okay. What Spitz doesn't see is that this is not a hair of Chicago or native to any of this area. This is a hair from out west. This is like a capital H. Mm-hmm. This is not a rabbit. This is a hare. This hare has eyes that have seen time end. But yeah, it's got these long ears. And Spitz just sees it's a rabbit. Rabbit asking for popcorn.
It's a fucking rabbit.
Yeah. Hey kid. Can I have some of that popcorn?
I'll chop the piece down, dude.
Nope. It's kind of like hops up on its hind legs and just start nibbling.
Wicked.
Hey kid, you want a job?
Sure.
You look like a kid, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you look like a kid who likes to get into some mischief, like some tricks, you know?
Yeah.
And correct me, I don't want to pry. Never pry into another person's business. That's not me, not ever. It's like finish the other.
I'm good at prying things. I have a wrench. Do you need me to pry things?
So, hear me out. There's a Ferris wheel. It's got a lot of bolts. How many bolts do you think you could get out of the Ferris wheel without anyone catching you?
That's a different number.
You have multiple.
16.
You can see the rabbit do some mental math of like, what does 16 bolts of a Ferris wheel even like mean? He says, well, you know, I'm a rabbit. I've never been on the Ferris wheel, so I can't really speak to it. But
do you want to go on the Ferris? We could go on the Ferris wheel first, and then I can get the bolts.
The rabbit says, "Oh no, I can't go on that Ferris wheel.
Why not?
I think I would die, and/or all of my insides would turn out. Inside
Why?
out. It would be bad, you know, kid. Sometimes things are just bad. Sometimes things suck. Okay? Sometimes you don't get what you want. Anyway, sorry. Can I?" And then, like, it kind of sinks in. It's like, sorry, long day? It's been a long day. Can I have some more popcorn? If you bring back...
I've never met a talking bunny before.
You shouldn't, yeah. I'm a good talking bunny. You shouldn't probably talk to a lot of other talking bunnies. Wouldn't recommend it.
Why not?
You know, it would be too complicated to explain.
You sound like an adult.
Nope, just a rabbit here. That's me, just a talking rabbit. Just can I have another piece of popcorn? But the bolts. You seem like a child who likes to focus on things, right? Maybe, please.
I do like bolts.
Bolts. If you bring back bolts, we can meet the horses. We can trade the horses, meeting the horses for bolts. And
drops a little piece of popcorn. Got yourself a deal, bunny.
Ooh, sounds good. And then, as you like look away, as like a piece of popcorn falls on your head, you look up, and when you look down, the rabbit is gone. The hair has disappeared. Somewhere just a little bit in the back of your mind, Spitz is normally pretty distractible. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's going to be hard to forget that you need to go get these bolts. Somewhere in the back of your mind.
Well, hey, any opportunity for some wrench. Spitz is gonna throw one last look out at the horsies, be like, I'll be back for you, horsies. And start trucking to the Ferris wheel.
All right, Spitz over at the Ferris wheel. Let's go to Mr. Wheel. You know, it's still like maybe 10 or so in the morning. So it's been like not that long since you got off the train.
Sure.
Yeah, so what are you up to?
Okay, walking over to the greatest refrigerator on Earth, the cold storage facility of the Chicago World's Fair.
You get there, there's like an ice skating, the signs advertising, ice skating rink, the biggest refrigerator ever. Come see all of the things we have frozen here. And you can see up at the top the chimneys that vent all of the heat from keeping these things refrigerated are covered by some very unsafe decoration. In fact, the cupolas of the facades of the towers are edging out over the furnaces, or over the smokestacks, and you can, in your mind's eye, you can just see the moment they're going to burst into flame. Give me another investigation check.
Sure.
Give me just like a fire safety.
Good old fire safety check.
Which, yeah.
An investigation check. Is that a spot hidden? Or is investigation its own thing?
No, spot hidden would be the investigation check, I guess.
Cool.
If you don't have any specific occupation-related investigation.
No, just a general spot hidden, which I fail.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so you just see some very unsafe. There's no fire escapes either. If you were trapped on top of this building and it was burning down, you would die. So that's hardly ideal. So you see all of this. You see kind of the general sort of attendants standing out in front of it. But it seems like kind of an average, ordinary day.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna walk up to kind of the first person who looks like they work here, and I'm gonna take advantage of this not being a codified thing yet, and I will ask to speak to the manager.
He says, "Hello."
Hi. Yes. Phineas B. Wheel. I have some concerns. Are you work here?
Yes.
Did you work here in June?
Yeah. I've been
Then
here.
I'm sure you were here for the fires.
Yeah, it's why I'm standing out here, not in there. What do you want?
I can't help but notice that like the flues are still blocked.
Yeah.
Or the cupolas and
Yeah.
the fires. You're aware of the fires,
Yeah.
and yet the flues.
Yep.
And there's no plan.
I just work here, man.
Wait, I would like to speak to someone about the flues and also the cupolas, and please. Are you in charge?
No.
Who
Do I look
can
in charge?
Unclear, but I'm happy to hear that answer, and I mean that respectfully. Who is he here? Can I talk to him?
Yeah, I mean, we've got like a general overseer for the agricultural section. Can go get him? if you want.
Yes, please, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you so much.
Will you stop talking to me?
I certainly would like to talk to you if that's all right, sir. I think that open discourse is the most efficient way that we can all benefit in this situation. But if those are the terms of our agreement, I can be here and I can be quiet if that means that you'll.
It just. Yeah, the attendant just turns around and just like slouches off and just they walk the way paint dries. You can see their little like green jacket just sort of slowly disappearing into the crowd. Yeah, so you wait a couple of
Is like they were in front of the door to the place, right?
Yeah.
Is that door unlocked?
Yeah, I mean, you can go in and out. They're just kind of so you've bought a ticket to this, so you should be able to go in and out freely to any of the buildings.
Sure.
They might have paid stuff inside. Like if you wanted to go in the ice skating rink, you'd have to pay.
Yeah.
To see it free.
But like the rooms with the like ammonia-based freezers themselves, like I go into the building. We'll start there. Yes.
With the intent of looking for anything specific.
Yeah, I want to get to the freezers themselves. The things that produce cold and then produce heat as a byproduct, and I'm more worried about the latter than the former.
Give me an intelligence check to navigate your way to these rooms.
I'm kind of smart. I pass that hardly. As in, I pass a hard version of that check. That's a bad construction in English. I pass the hard version of an intelligence check.
So you pass hardly. Yes.
But I don't hardly pass. The joke's been done.
Yeah, so you have no problem navigating. There's kind of tours of the refrigerators because this is such a new technological investment or invention. So when you, it's pretty easy to follow the signs. But with your intelligence check, you're able to sort of find a couple of rooms that are away from like the main public tours and maybe more like the workhouses and less of the display models, so to speak. As you open the door to this refrigerator, you see a couple of beings gathered around this refrigerator. They are small, about 2 feet, 3 feet tall, and it looks like they were once kind of covered in fur, and they're starting to molt, and the patches underneath the fur coming up with like scaly bits, like a dog with mange that has a snake growing inside of it. And
Are they like humanoid or
yeah, they're a little bit humanoid, but their bones are kind of misshapen and oddly angular, with sort of bloodshot eyes and then pointed ears and very sharp teeth that are actually, it's like they've had sort of more omnivorous blunt teeth, and they've started to fall out and slowly be replaced with sharp pointed teeth, and they are busy digging away at the internal workings of this refrigerator. And what you can see, because is Phineas familiar with refrigerators? It feels like
I know nothing about I not at a mechanical level. I have read every article that I could find that made it from Chicago to New York about the safety issues of refrigerators, but I don't know them at a mechanical level now.
Okay. So you're not sure what they're doing. By the increased clicking and whirring of the refrigerator, it is something bad.
Yeah.
And as you walk in, they whirl, and you give me a sanity check for seeing these monstrosities.
I do know what machines sound like when they're happy versus unhappy. That's an important factory inspection tool. Sanity check. That's a hard. It's a pass. Yeah. Like it's sanity. It's a pass.
Phineas B. Wheels, like, just inability to believe in the horrors of the world are.
I believe in the horrors of the world, but I believe that they're horrors of rather than outside of the world.
Yeah, you see some really fucked up looking dogs, man. They let some dogs with mange get in here, and as you come in, they turn to see you, and they sort of rush you as an attempt to get out the door and like just get around you.
Cool. I see no reason that they need to encounter me or have any other adversity as they attempt to exit, so I will just scoot out the way.
Incredible. Yeah, so you...
Should I make a jump or anything check? Or
give me a dodge, yeah.
A dodge. I make it.
You make it? Alright. And they're not attempting to attack you, so if you make the dodge, then they jump around you. Yeah, and they just, like, scatter down the hall, and it looks like a couple of them go into other refrigerators. But you can see one stop and sort of, like, turn to look at you as if, like, memorizing your face a little bit.
I don't like that at all. I will try to no longer be observed, if at all possible.
Oh, yeah, how do you do that?
Did they ran through a doorway?
So, you're in basically a hall, think like a hotel room, and each of the doors is an entrance to, like, a refrigerator room. And so you are in one of those, and they sort of scattered, some to other rooms, and some just, like, down the hallway.
But I can close a door between me and them, right?
You can hide in the...
I certainly will do that.
Yeah, you're in the room with the refrigerator, and it's starting to tick and whir quite badly.
Cool. Okay, I know that there are 3 types of refrigerator units in this building. I know that one of them uses ammonia, and I know that that's a problem. I don't know how to discern which one is which, so I'm gonna look at this one and think real hard about whether I think it might or might not be spurting ammonia right now.
Give me a hard intelligence check.
Cool. I have a mechanical repair, which is like worse than my hard intelligence.
I think if you were trying to fix whatever's wrong, you'd have to use mechanical repair. If you're just trying to figure out more about it, you can just use intelligence.
Fail.
Fail.
I made a normal intelligence, but not a hard one.
Man, something's wrong with this refrigerator, and you don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no one else around that I can see?
Actually, so you're kind of in this one room, so you don't see anyone else. As you're standing there, you hear a knock on the door, or so you so there's it seems to be there's like some tours going on. You can like kind of hear them in the distance, but it's a big building. There's a lot of refrigerators, so there's not necessarily a lot. Like you were kind of alone in this area. Is there anything like you want to do right now?
I'm breathing a lot and probably quickly.
Yeah.
And my heart is also beating, also probably quickly. Do I feel... I'm very sensitive to the idea that, like, is this thing leaking anything visibly?
I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so 1 or 2, and this is an ammonia refrigerator.
Okay.
Nope. Okay, you don't know better, but yeah.
Cool.
You are starting to feel a little lightheaded, but because you don't know if it's ammonia. But physically you are fine.
Cool. Other than that, I haven't super investigated the room, at least by the time I hear that knock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not immediately respond to that knock. I'm just gonna wait.
You hear the knock. It says, sir, you've taken up more of my day than I would want. Do you want to speak to the manager?
Yes! Oh my gosh, thank you so much. First, I open the door.
Open the door, and so you can see the attendant, who's sort of like a portly man, green jacket, big mustache that sort of conceals the fact that he's not really shaved all that much. Like he's very stubbly around the mustache, and like a little round hat of the appropriate time period, I'm sure.
A little bowler hat.
Yeah, a little bowler hat. There we go. And I'm looking at Ken, who knows a lot about historical fashion, for reference.
We're
and also
really
Emily,
edging me
like,
out of my area of expertise here, but only barely.
like between Emily and Ken.
Like little round hat, bowler hat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably.
Yeah, 20th century.
Attendant wearing a bowler hat, and then another kind of tall, sallow man standing behind him, like very thin. He looks a little ill, and he's not wearing a hat, but he's got like a kind of a tie, and this seems to be the manager. And as you open the door, the manager stares behind you at the refrigerator and says, "What have you done?"
Yeah, sir, this is why I would...
It says, "Why did you let him in here? What has he done?" I'm sorry, sir, you need to leave immediately. Call someone to come fix this, and then get some attendants to escort this man out.
Yes.
I can't tell Mr. Harrison another thing has gone wrong, so please.
Mr. Harrison, you said? Is Mr. Harrison in charge of this building, or...
Mr. Harrison is the mayor of Chicago.
Mr. Harrison, the mayor of Chicago. I certainly knew that. Hi, sir. Phineas B. Wheel. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. First and foremost, I did not do this. And I assume that your fine refrigerators were in fine working order just earlier this morning. I'm sure all the adequate safety inspections are in place. But by the time I entered this room, it seemed like some vermin of some sort had already gotten into the room. That's really precisely why I'm here, sir, is the idea that these refrigeration units, I shudder to say it, but I don't think they're fully safe. And I really think it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that the patrons as well as your own employees are properly accounted for, and the safety standards here are worrying.
The attendant sort of enters the room and looks at the refrigerators and turns to the manager and says, someone's fucked it up, all right. I am feeling the need to go fix this. So, sir, if you would, kind of gestures to you. And the manager turns to Phineas and says, yes, I understand vermin is usually a problem with the, secured locked door with the handle at about 3 feet high. Yes.
Oh, well, I assure you, sir, that the door wasn't locked. I wouldn't be in there if it was. Clearly the door was unlocked, which is how I gained egress.
Absolutely. Why don't you come with me and we'll explain it just to get to the bottom of this.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll turn back to the attendant. Sir, I apologize. I know I promised you I would stay where I was, and I abhor the fact that I treated you like a cog in the wheel that is industry. I think that's so much of a problem with the whole system, as it were. Again, I apologize. You're doing a great job here. Best of luck.
Give me charm.
Ooh, I don't got much of that. I got persuade.
No, give me charm.
Phineas, not very charming. Nope, that's a big fail. Not a crit fail, but a big fail.
Yeah, attendant just sort of looks at you and goes, thanks, man. Why don't you go with the manager now?
Will do. Thank you again.
The manager sort of like gestures you forward, sort of slings a hand. Yeah.
Is it clear that he thinks I broke the fridge, or can I do a psych roll for that or something?
Give me psychology for Phineas's sake, but I will say yes.
Phineas does not make that psychology roll, though. And Phineas knows himself well enough to know that the last thing Phineas would ever do is break the fridge that he came here to save.
Wow. Yeah.
If it's all right to ask, where are we headed now? Is Mr. Harrison perhaps here? I think this is a matter of civic importance.
The mayor's very busy. We're always blessed when he takes a special interest.
These are human lives.
They're very important to Mr. Harrison. So we're gonna go and get to the bottom of this. Whenever there's suspected tampering with anything at the fair, we have some on-site investigative members of our security department who are here on hand.
Sure, like an animal control containment unit.
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Okay, yeah, great to hear. I wasn't even aware that the fair had such a unit, but it's really great to hear the proactive efforts that's been going on. I wouldn't have even suspected this sort of kind of issue. Honestly, it was disconcerting to see. I'm not super familiar with the Chicago livestock. What varietals of wild dogs or vermin do you have here?
You can give me a psychology roll for that.
You can keep telling me to make them. No. I'm gonna keep not making them. There it is.
Yeah, you can see he just says, it's Chicago. They build them different here.
I actually don't know. I know that it's Chicago, but I don't know Chicago. I'm from New York, Long Island City, actually. But really here because I care about this cause, sir, and I'm so glad to see that.
He's like walking you out of the building as you're doing this. Like,
I will keep stuttering in this manner until we get anywhere, but we don't have to play through all of it.
He says like he's walking you to let's say this small building here, I think.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Oh, I got to talk this man's ear off.
Yeah, this fair is actually each of these is approximately a block, so figure 10 minutes, give or take, for each of these. That sounds about right. Let's say you hop over to here, this little building here. Yeah, and it's clearly just a little private police station. So he's like, it's the rats they have in New York City.
I do actually. Yeah, it's a problem in the factories with tampering with the machinery, much like it seems to be here.
They get them in here and then they just keep feeding them corn and they just get too big, too big, man. Yeah, come here. You just take a seat over there for me, just in that room right there. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
And he shuts the door and you're locked in. It's not a full prison cell, but if you shoplift something in the mall and they put you behind the
Disney jail.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been shut in a room. Says be someone along shortly to talk to you, Mr. Wheel.
Mr. Collins, was it?
Yeah, sure.
I'd really love to continue our conversation or talk to Mr. Harris, or could I perhaps make a report in writing? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, here's some pen and paper. Just let me know what happened. And he shoves some paper underneath the door and get a little golf pencil.
Okay. I'm gonna dutifully write up a report on exactly what I think I saw because I failed so many psychology checks. I don't think I know I'm in Disney jail.
I love Phineas.
Asked me before this started who was gonna get arrested first. This is how the turntables.
That guy confirmed his name is Mr. Collins, but am I correct in assuming his name is not actually Mr. Collins at all?
He didn't give you his name. and I don't think his name is Mr. Collins.
But I didn't ever hear his name. Okay.
No, he didn't give you his name.
Did I get the attendant's name either? Phineas would have, but I didn't play it.
Oh,
Whatever.
we'll call him Mr. Green. Like, let's say you did get the attendant's name. Call him Mr. Green. So we leave Phineas slowly, like, by the light of a small window, writing out his account of some mutant dogs who attacked the refrigerator. It's currently the story we're going with.
Very large rats, undoubtedly fueled by an abundance of corn. And that must be another endemic issue of the city. That this food, I know that there is a food shortage, and the lower class struggles to get enough to eat, and yet the rats seem larger than ever. It's just gonna become a tirade. Like,
something is up. Okay.
What is the mayor's name, Mr. Williams?
Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Harrison. Okay.
I can give you
Carter Harrison.
Yes. Carter C. Harrison, hypocrite of the first order.
Got no windows, right?
You got like a little window.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gives you some light, right? Like. I don't think the electrical light wouldn't be widespread enough at this time that you'd be, and they probably wouldn't bother getting gas to like a little outbuilding like this.
Do I see towards the basin or towards the city?
D4. You see here out towards the basin.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you got a little window. He's writing. Let's go back to Marianne and Moira. Mora? Fuck.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll get it right. So Mora, you have delivered your thing.
Skedaddled.
Yes, you're sitting there. You hear a little knock on the door, and you get a little piece of paper, that says there's been a new arrival in town. A little kid. There's something. The it doesn't actually say It says there's something, could be up to some fun trouble, but also might die. Just, so you know. Sorry, I'm not very good if I don't actually think these out before I write them. Little J.
So there's no instructions written on this.
No, it just says, as you turn it over, you see it's a flyer for the Buffalo Bill show.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, she's gonna go. She doesn't want to leave her shop. Like, she was kind of excited for potential customers, but I suppose we're gonna have to head down to the Buffalo Bill Wild West show or whatever. At this point, she's like kind of run ragged by Jimmy. But she accepts it because the benefits are incredible. So yeah, I think she would start heading down that way. Go like that way.
Yeah.
Start heading down to the Buffalo Bill show, I guess, and look for a child. Any of them.
Incredible.
Any child.
We'll pause briefly because Spitz might still be in this area. Marion, what's your next move after leaving Pendergast's office?
Yeah, she's going to take a look around the fair. I think she'll start in the sort of midway area. She's heard a little bit about this Ferris wheel and is just kind of curious, like, why Harrison might be shutting it down. If it's supposed to be this huge attraction, so she'll also start to kind of make her way towards that.
Oh, just a point from what Pendergast told you. It's not that they're shutting it down necessarily. It's that the mayor is pushing to keep it open. But it looks like it's kind of a risky financial bet, and he seems to be more interested in keeping it open, like to increase clout or something. Unclear why, but he wants it open.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, for sure. Pendergast is a lot and unclear. For sure. So, you pop over.
Yeah. She'll be moving over here as well.
Okay, cool. Let's pop back to Spitz. What's Spitz gonna do?
Spitz is scoping out the Ferris wheel.
Incredible. All right, you moved over to the Ferris wheel. You see an enormous wheel, and it's truly gigantic. They did not just build what you think of as like a fun carnival Ferris wheel. Each of the gondolas holds 20 people. It is an enormous pavilion rotating up and down. And you see everyone, there's a very long line to get on this. It opened about a month ago. It opened like late into the fair. But, you know, as you're looking, you can see people coming in and off. It's a very slow turning wheel, so it takes a while to get a full rotation, but you get gorgeous views of the city, and from here you can see a lot of the fair. You see a little sign that says, ride 10 cents.
Spitz cannot read.
Right. Does Spitz know any numbers? Do you think Spitz would be able to count to 10 or something?
I think Spitz could count to 10 on their, like they would know, like, what the money, what coins say on them.
Okay.
So, like, they'd maybe not know the number 3.
But that's the 3 coin.
Is there a 3 coin at this time?
No, but like...
Which is why I'm like, they're probably not going to know the number 3. But, like, 1s and 0s and 2s and 5s. Yeah.
1893, we're rocking with the same coins we got now, right?
Different variants, but, like, broadly, yes.
Bangers only.
What's that?
They drop those coins, you're like, those are fine forever.
So, like, yeah, I feel like if I saw a 10, Spitz would probably be like, a dime.
Incredible. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you see a little sign. You see a sign that says 10, and then a bunch of other writing. So who knows what that says?
Not Spitz.
Yeah. And what you do see, an enormous number of bolts. Just so many bolts. The Ferris wheel is anchored to sort of a triangular chassis, and then there's this kind of spoke that comes up here, and then the wheel turns around that. So there's just, at ground level, an enormous number of bolts.
Okay. I would like to stealth over to something, you know, kind of low to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Don't backside of whatever's the opposite side of the Ferris wheel, that's where people are getting loaded on.
Mm-hmm.
And find a little space that I can tuck myself into and start cranking at some bolts.
Give me a stealth check to get yourself secured.
That's pass.
Hard pass or regular pass?
Regular pass.
Regular pass. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you find it's again truly a massive wheel, and so a small 9 to 10-ish-year-old has no trouble finding a little corner. You can hear the Ferris wheel grinding above you, as you tuck yourself in there. And is Spitz just going for the bolts, whatever?
Yeah, Spitz gonna kind of like count out how many bolts are around, at least however many. He's gonna count out 10 bolts because that's how many fingers they have.
Oh, do they even know what 16 is? Can they count to 16?
They can count to 10 and then they can count to 6. This is like, okay, well, so we start with 10 and then we start over.
Yeah. So you're okay. Yeah?
How long were Spitz and I separate before they became a domestic terrorist? Because I feel like it was like 10 minutes. Like, I did not leave this kid alone for that long.
I think that Spitz has always been a little bit of a domestic terrorist, and it's just, this is now their moment to shine.
Nobody notices a few missing bolts, but like there's some good resale value on them.
16 bolts for meeting horses.
Exactly.
That's a great resale value.
Usually I just bring them to Vito's garage and he gives me a sandwich. But like horsies, good. That's also a good trade.
Bolts for Colts.
Yeah, give me a... God, what do I do this for? Because you're...
I can make a mechanical repair check to determine like the ones that people are gonna notice if I take them.
Is Spitz attempting to do or like to avoid mechanical damage, or does Spitz not care?
Well, I feel like Spitz is like, look, if I bring this thing down on myself, that's bad.
Okay.
So, and also Spitz has learned that you tend to get more bolts out of it if you don't break the thing, because then people come and they replace the bolts, but because like the whole thing didn't break, they just replace the bolts, and then you can go and you can take the same bolts.
And they're new.
And this time they're new. So like Vito adds a little extra mayo to your sandwich.
It's beautiful and tragic every time. Yeah, I'm gonna say if you're intending to be careful, give me a mechanical roll. Please tell me.
That's a crit fail.
That is a 100.
That's 3 low
That's
zeros.
3 little zeros.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Wonderful.
All this expertise. I have an 80 in mechanical repair.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
The wheel.
so you go after these bolts, and as you get about halfway through, you have managed to wedge yourself into just a very delicate, precisely balanced portion of this wheel. So as you're attempting to take very carefully and not be noticed, take these bolts out, you hear a grinding sound, and then it becomes a shearing sound. So with a lot of bolts like this, you want to keep everything lubricated and not running into each other, because when you have metal on metal, it will grind itself and then start to weld itself together often. And you hear that. Spitz has heard this happen a couple of times, and it is followed by catastrophic failure of the mechanism.
Yeah.
The wheel is beginning to, the weight of the wheel continues to turn, the mechanism is jammed.
Can I make an attempt to lubricate the mechanism?
So you've jammed something here, and the mechanism goes up into the wheel, and something in here is supposed to be turning, and it's not. And this wheel, which has, 20 gondolas with 20 people on them, is gonna keep going. Conservation of momentum dictates this wheel don't stop. But there is no longer gears turning this wheel. And, you know that you have moments to get out.
Yeah, I'm
Before...
fucking booking.
Give me a dodge roll.
It's like just no. I
You can push this roll, because this is an attack roll. You're not you definitely can push this roll. As this is happening, Mora and Marion, you're walking up here, and this wheel towers above all else. And Mora, you've walked by it a bunch. Marion, you saw it kind of lit up and turning the night before. So you know generally the thing, and you can see it sort of stutter to a halt. And there is a sound of tearing metal that echoes across the fairground. Spitz, what happened? Where's Spitz at?
Spitz is attempting to extricate themselves from this spot that they've been hidden themselves in and run.
Run, incredible. So you're trying to dodge.
Yeah, my dodge is a 32. I rolled a 39, which is...
Okay. So you can spend luck points. You can attempt to... right now, I would say that if you don't make this...
Pushing the roll feels riskier than leaving it.
Well, so you're going
to...
So you're going to see that the wheel is going to collapse a little bit, and you risk being trapped underneath it. If you try to push the roll, failure will likely mean you'll get injured, maybe somewhat severely, as you try to get out. So right now, you're probably not going to die, but you're not going to go anywhere.
I'm not going to push it.
As you kind of squeeze yourself down in an attempt, and the wheel kind of rolls a little bit, rocks a bit, and with a clang, you are sealed underneath this wheel, and almost in darkness with a sound of thunder echoing around you. Give me a sanity check there.
That's a pass.
Spitz
curls into a little ball.
You got your wrenches, you're surrounded by bolts, but you are firmly trapped underneath this wheel. Phineas B. Wheel, you can hear something echoing across the fair.
That sounds bad. That sounds...
The odds that I brought this Ferris wheel down were so low.
1 in 100, you might
1
assume.
in 100, you might
1% even.
Like, because you were trying to be careful and deliberate, like if you had just been trying to remove the bolts and critically failed, probably nothing would have happened. But you deliberately were like, no, I want nothing to happen.
And then you critically failed at nothing happening, which forces something to happen. Okay. Is there anybody
Hold on, Phineas,
yeah,
for
yeah,
just
yeah,
one
please.
sec. I want to
do-
resolve
please.
the people seeing. So you know
There's a child there
somewhere.
somewhere in that area that I'm supposed to go find. No further instructions.
No.
I mean, there is a world in which he's just letting me know. But I am overwhelmed with concern about this. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna at least head there and keep a safe distance, but watch it resolve itself, see if it falls, and then see if I can't help in that situation.
Okay, incredible. So you're gonna pop over to the wheel. It's you.
I'm over here-ish. Like, I'm watching.
Yeah. So this is probably like a 10-minute walk between here and here.
Okay.
Watching.
I'm probably over here-ish.
Yeah.
Like, watching, but not close enough that if it fell, it would fall on me.
Gotcha. Yeah, you like 2 or 3 inches is probably a 10-minute walk, the scale of this. Technically, this is to scale, and this should be twice as long. Does not matter. But for the map people out there, we'll put it in the comments. Yeah, so you're watching the wheel. It is pandemonium and panic out there. You can see people are trying to figure out what happened and get the mechanism turning. They're unloading people who are within reach of that, but there are hundreds of people trapped in the air, and the wheel continues to sway back and forth.
Can I, look for a child? I mean, I as a player know that there's no fucking way I'm gonna see spits, but, I'm looking for children?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah, give me an investigate check. Spot hidden.
38, I make it.
38, yeah. You see a bunch of children running around, but they all seem attached to someone. You don't see, a stray child. So, you at least know that the child you were looking for isn't visible. But you can see that parts of the wheel have collapsed a little bit. And people don't really seem to be looking at that area. But no one's screaming or anything, so. Is Fitz screaming?
No.
Yeah, no one's screaming or anything, so there's nothing to indicate someone is trapped there. But, you do see it's collapsed. You don't see any missing children. Wild West is over here, so it's a little bit farther away. You definitely know also, you could ask the spirits. You've got some vibes going. That's another option. But yeah, what's more, while you're figuring out, what is Marion doing?
I think Marion, as soon as she heard the sound of shearing metal and maybe saw a bit of the Ferris wheel start to sway, ran as fast as she could over, probably around to here or so, and immediately started taking out her camera to try and snap pictures of the pandemonium and the wheel starting to go down.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, it is. People were incredibly afraid this was going to happen, and it has now happened. This is the thing. Everyone was like, we can't do this. The wheel is against God. Not supposed to go in a circle like that. And then they did.
In her notebook, she's writing down in her very particular shorthand, Ferris wheel down, revolution against mayor, ?
Yeah, so you're just hanging out, you're taking photos. Yeah, you can see there's a rescue attempt underway, but it doesn't seem to be very effective. You think they're going to have to buy rope, climb up and take everyone down person by person. So this is going to take maybe days, maybe a day, but certainly hours to rescue everyone. It seems like there's not a ton of workplace safety for if the Ferris wheel stops. Wild.
Weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's anyone that was concerned about that and where they might be.
Disney jail.
What is Mora up to?
I think she's gonna ask the spirits what she should do in this situation. I don't know. Do you want me to just pull a card or
Yeah. I think are you going to attempt a spell, or are you going to take a luck roll, essentially. That
Basically take a luck roll.
Okay.
That, like, because, yeah, the spell takes, like, an hour. She doesn't have that kind of time. So she has basically, like, a couple options. She can keep investigating the wheel, or she can go to Buffalo Bill, or look around for someone who can help, I guess. Like,
So for spells, I don't know if we got into this, but you can also use your mythos to cast a spell you don't know. And basically, it's the distinction is with spells, you have to pass an intelligence check the first time you roll it to see basically does it work, and then after that you roll your power to see if it succeeds. With mythos, you have to run that intelligence check each time, and basically I want to make something up, but you have to relearn the spell each time. So if you're trying to do something that's not a spell card I gave you, you can do it, but it would have similar sanity and power points costs. So if you wanted to make up, like, deliberately use magic to get a yes or no answer, might, instead of tell the future, you know what I mean?
it's more, I mean, this is up to you, but it's more of like I think what she's trying to do is, like, get guidance from the universe on what she should do in this moment. Because it's a very wide array of things that she could be doing. So I think
Pull a card, yeah.
Pulling
She's
cards.
just using tarot in the way it was intended, according to some practitioners, to be used, which is not really magic, but more of like a guide in your own intention thing. Yeah, pop it out here so everyone can see.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
He's upright.
Yeah. The Hanged Man.
little book.
What does the Hanged Man mean?
What's the number on that? 12? Mm-hmm. Enforced sacrifice, punishment, loss, suffering, suspension.
Oh.
It's extremely fitting.
So I don't know, should I make like an intelligence or wisdom check to see how she would interpret that?
You can either do that or give me a luck check to see if her interpretation is correct. Whichever one you'd like.
I'll do luck and I pass.
Okay, pass, yeah. Yeah, you think, what does this have to do with Buffalo Bills? No, this suspension, like, this is, I see men hanging from ropes right now. The universe is being fairly clear.
It's being really on brand, on point right now.
right.
Like, I'm like, oh, duh, thanks, universe.
I will say, as you're kind of holding this tarot card up and looking at the Ferris wheel, you can sort of still see momentum of the Ferris wheel. And you're noticing that this Ferris wheel rotates counterclockwise, which is a little weird. You just kind of tuck that in the back of your head. Yes, you're like, the universe has spoken. Something to do with the Ferris wheel.
Something to do with the Ferris wheel. Oh, man. Can you explain to me, Ken, what's weird about the counterclockwise thing?
It's...
Or is it just common knowledge that Ferris wheels rotate clockwise?
I think in this era of mechanical, like, clockwork and stuff, people are kind of attuned to that a little bit more than we would be nowadays. And so most things rotate the way clockwork does because you sort of pattern it off of clockwork. So if something isn't rotating that way, it has been deliberately designed to do that. And I'm going to send you this.
Okay.
If you don't know what this is, then I will then explain that further. But this may help. Okay.
I can also just Google it if you want me to.
No. It's not relevant super now. This is a thing that, as a witch, you would recognize and think.
I'm like, interesting. And you can explain whatever the fuck that means.
Sometimes you think this isn't obscure lore, and then it is. I accept that this is obscure lore, though, for sure. This is my fault.
And I think we planned this with me being the one at the table to actually know what you were talking about in these situations, so this must be really obscure.
I also could have spelled this wrong.
I'm gonna say it sometime, and everybody's gonna be like, I actually know what that is. I'm fully aware of everything that you're talking about. You're just an idiot. I'm like, well, yeah. Okay.
It's also referred to as walking this.
Okay.
That rings a bell? Okay.
Rings more. The word rang a bell. I just hadn't heard of it. Okay.
Points if you guess what it is. Anyway.
Can I walk clockwise around this thing?
Yeah, sure.
And just, but like, and like looking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
As I guess a superstition.
Yeah, give an investigate check.
Okay, investigate isn't a thing.
Oh, sorry, spot hidden. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's what I mean when I say investigate.
I make it barely.
Barely. I think with the fact that the universe has pointed you in this direction of trouble and pain and something having gone wrong, you also know the universe is not, like, that literal, so it's not the men, like, it's probably not the guys who seem to be fine in their ropes getting people down. So it kind of does draw your focus to the crumpled up areas of this Ferris wheel, and you can see the shine of, like, a little piece of light off a wrench kind of tightly held. And
A
you can
little
see
hand.
A little hand, a little small child as you get closer.
Oh boy, okay. Oh boy, okay. Do you want to cut away, or do you want to resolve this?
Do you know immediately what you do, or do you want a sec to think about it and we can cut?
I think she's so fucking out of her depth that she's gonna try to find help. Like,
Okay, incredible.
go to any sort of, like, authority. Maybe yell at the guys, like, hey, hello?
They, unless you're shouting something more specific, they're like, sorry, what, like, hey lady, what's up?
There's a child under the Ferris wheel. There is a child under the Ferris wheel. It's my child. My child is under the Ferris wheel, and I need you to help me. And I start crying immediately. Like, my kid is under there, and I need your help. Look, and I'm, like, pointing directly at it. I'm like, you see his little hand?
This man lets the rope go, and you can hear, like, another guy go, ah, fuck! And just, like, dashes over, and he's like, Bill, fuck, we got a kid trapped here. Man, it's...
Buffalo Bill?
Don't think so. But, you know, give me a luck...
It was gonna make Spit's day to get rescued by Buffalo Bill.
Give me a luck check.
Mr. Bill was my father, called me Buffalo.
Was it a hard luck check?
That's a 20.
A 20?
And my luck is 65.
Yeah, as this guy's shouting...
The actor who plays Buffalo Bill.
As this guy's shouting, Bill, you hear, like, a couple of voices respond, saying, yeah, hey, what, sorry, which, and like, a tall, bearded, very mustached gentleman with a very cowboy hat steps up and says, ma'am, sorry, I heard you might be in some distress. Could I offer some assistance?
Yes, my child is trapped under the Ferris wheel.
Oh boy, that sure does seem to be a pickle now, don't it?
It's a little more than fucking pickle, Bill. She's like, I'm so sorry. It's my child. He's trapped.
He says, well, you know, here, I found this hat.
Like getting into the
Here, found this hat to be very calming. Just hands you his hat. Just hold on to that for me, ma'am. If you just hold on to that, everything's going to be all right. We are going to get you out of this. And your son, what's his name?
Jimmy.
Good.
Phil says,
It's short for James.
James? All right, I'm sure he's a good kid. I'm sure he doesn't get into any trouble. This is totally unlike him. Buffalo Bill is gonna, like, step up to and there's, like, a couple other guys gathered around. Buffalo Bill exudes just some calm and authority over the situation. Look, no one's gonna say no to a man in a Stetson, right?
I am currently holding the Stetson, though.
It is the conch. You hold the Stetson. You have the floor.
So he kind of comes up close to Spitz and says, James, is that you? Are you okay down there?
Buffalo Bill?
Yeah. Did you come to one of my shows?
Uh-huh.
See me up on those horses? How'd you get down here?
There was a talking bunny at the show.
Oh, it's gonna be all right, James. We're gonna get out, and we're gonna get you back to your mom. Is that gonna be okay?
Yeah.
All right, just hang tight in there, little fellow. All right, don't.
Spitz is gonna, like, tuck the wrench into their pants so that people aren't like, hey, why do you have a wrench under there?
Buffalo's gonna say, all right, you there and you there. It looks to me like this section is, a little, if we were to pry this up a little bit, we can create a little hollow to dig underneath out there, right? Does that sound good? Let's get some shovels, guys. Some shovels. We're gonna make like the Wild West and dig for some gold here, except it's gonna be a child, not some gold. Infinitely more precious. The youth are our future.
Okay, Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill says, yeah, you saw it here. Buffalo Bill is going to rescue a child.
Can I make a listen check?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Do it with a bonus die. Buffalo Bill is trained at projecting.
So make that. I make that with the hard anyway.
Good orator, Buffalo Bill.
This is the best PR the Buffalo Bill's Wild West show could have gotten.
Amazing.
Buffalo Bill for mayor of Chicago.
Honestly, anyone but the mayor of Chicago. Okay. I've done a lot of historical research. Like, outside of this game, fuck that guy. Anyway.
Maybe inside of this game, too.
It's not for me to say. He's just here. He's just a guy who's here. All right, so you absolutely hear Buffalo Bill projecting over this. You see a couple of guys who clearly dressed from his show running with some shovels.
Perfect. The irony of this is not really lost on Marion, but she picks up her camera and kind of follows after them and tries to lean in close to one of the guys running over while also going over. Do you know what just happened?
Not really, and everything was fine. Nothing going wrong. We'd done our safety checks this morning. Everything tip-top condition. This thing is a complicated, weird piece of machinery. But it was working. Everything should have been fine. Sorry, I've got to go, but I don't know. There was a loud noise. Everything's fucked. Sorry, everything is not good. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
I've got to go.
What's your name? I'm a reporter.
James. Sorry, James Buchanan, sir.
James
Ma'am?
Buchanan?
Sir, ma'am. Sorry.
James?
3 James.
Marion Mudd. Pleasure to meet you.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Pleasure. People are gonna.
Yep, I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you, sir.
James the Third. Are we at 3 James now?
Yes.
James
Because Jimmy
technically,
the patron, and then Jimmy the fake child,
Yeah.
All right.
named after Jimmy the patron.
Yeah. Anyway, James the Third goes, and probably James Buchanan, no relation. Runs off, yeah. So you can see him. He's immediately gone to help some people with the ropes. You see, there's one guy who's clearly fallen off some of the ropes, and he's tending him. He seems fine, just a little banged up. He's like, Jared, what happened? He's like, I don't know, man. It's been a weird day. It helps him up. So you see some pandemonium. You see Buffalo Bill. You see a woman standing over there holding the Stetson,
Crying.
Yeah, I'm gonna immediately go up to her. Ma'am, what's going on?
My child is trapped under the Ferris.
Your child, how did he get down there?
Was
anyone watching him?
I was watching him. Obviously, I'm a great mom.
Absolutely.
It was an accident. When the Ferris wheel, he just was kind of there, and then the Ferris wheel started to fall, as I'm sure you heard,
Right.
and that trapped him.
I see. And this your Buffalo Bill came to help you.
He did. That is wild. But it seems like we're kind of in an all hands on deck situation, so I would be disappointed in Mr. Buffalo if he did not come.
I see. And you know that Mr. Buffalo Bill's not actually cordoned by the fair. Is that right?
What?
He's not part of the fair.
Okay. It's your human duty when you see a child trapped under something to come help them.
Right. It's just a little surprising to me that, he's the one to Anyway.
Part of all hands. Do you not understand my child is trapped under a Ferris wheel?
Of course. I would think more people in the Midway would, jump in first is all.
There's a bunch of people here that are all trying to help, except for you, apparently. Just asking questions.
So sorry, I should have introduced myself. Marion Mudd. I'm a journalist.
Cool.
What's your name?
I'm Maura.
Maura? How do you spell that?
Maura, the way Maura is spelled.
Right. Sorry. You're my first Maura I've ever met, is all.
Interesting. I'm a little busy right now.
Sure.
She's getting swept up in the role.
Right. Do you mind if I take a picture?
I do mind, actually. I'm just
Heave, boys, heave!
photos take so much time at this point in history.
No worries at all. She points it towards like the wreckage, and not really caring that like there will be blurriness of like people moving and stuff, and just immediately points at the wreckage and takes a picture.
You can take a picture of me and my son when he's out from under the Ferris wheel.
Of course. I appreciate your time.
Buffalo Bill comes up and says, excuse me, don't mean to bother you lovely women, lovely ladies, but we're about ready to get your son out if you want to get ready to, nurture and support him, whatever you're gonna do there.
Whatever women do with their children.
Exactly, ma'am, as you have said. Incredible.
Mr. Bill, is it?
Yes, Buffalo Bill, at your service.
Buffalo Bill, pleasure to meet you.
Second hat.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
You respawn?
Sorry, my hat's currently being held by this lovely lady over here, but I'm sure your imagination can do it justice.
Absolutely.
So I'm in a brief spot of thrill and heroics right here. If you would just hold on for just 1 second.
I see that, sir.
I'm always happy to talk to a member of the press.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Would love to speak with you later about this incident.
So he's going to grab Spitz. They basically dug underneath the machinery enough to create a little bit of a hole, sort of like reached down and pulled Spitz out, covered in dirt and oil. A shower of bolts kind of rains down as you pull out. You're pulled out of this hole.
Can a few of them land in my pocket?
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely have a few bolts.
Well, I had the 8 that I took out were in my pocket already.
This just mud child is pulled from the wreckage.
Oh, Jimmy! Jimmy, Mommy's here, and I just grab him. Pull him away from other people. I'm like, oh, Jimmy, it's so good to see you. Go with it.
I put the camera in their face and take a picture.
I'm like, oh, my child.
Spitz hearing the go where they kind of just grabs on, but also the mouth is full of dirt, so just.
Oh, that's okay, honey.
And I think that's what the camera captures is Spitz.
Incredible. A blur of movement and dirt. That is what Spitz is at their core, really. When we get down to it. There's a triumphant rescue. There's still pandemonium going around, but a few people clap. And kind of Buffalo Bill's, some of the well-dressed patrons who obviously, trying to help would just get in the way. So they're just, very good. And Buffalo Bill and his group Buffalo Bill backs up, and the rest of his group start helping people, carry down and move them out of the way as they're continuing to evacuate the wheel. Buffalo Bill is kind of standing there. He says, sorry, so I'm going to go help with them very soon, but was there anything else can assist you?
No, this is great. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, let us know you get free tickets to the show. Happy to,
Yep. Okay, yep. It looks like the kid wants to go with that, so I'm like, we would love nothing more, Mr. Buffalo Bill.
And he grabs his hat back. He's like, sorry.
Of course, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm focused on the child now. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, just many trails with this thing, as they say.
Sure.
All Spitz can think about right now is actual seats.
Buffalo Bill's standing back with Marion. Would you want to talk to him? Continue to chase after the child? What's the...
Continue to chase after the child for a little bit here.
No, he just kind of looks after you and goes... and starts helping other people. Let's pause briefly and return to our safety inspector who has heard disaster and been able to do nothing.
Speaking of, escaping the wheel. What is... Can you tell me a little bit more about the hut I'm stuck in?
This looks like more of like an interrogation holding room than a jail cell. So it's really like a door and a room that's not specifically set up as an office.
Sure.
So there's nothing like you can kind of rifle through, but it's, not specifically designed to keep you from getting out.
Okay. And is there an attendant or anybody who is there, and if so, did they disappear when the wheels started?
Give me a listen check.
Nope, fail.
Yeah, you're not sure.
Cool. When I hear the sounds of grating metal, I'll start making some pleas. Hey, I can't help but notice that horrible metal welding itself to metal sound. I think I actually could be of some service out there. I actually work in factory safety and industries. If there's anybody I could talk to, I'm sure that like help might be needed.
You can hear like a bang on the door and say, look, sir, I don't know what's going on, but look, Gerald says you're here because you were messing with something.
No, sir. I'm actually Phineas B. Wheel. Can I like slide my badge under the door?
Absolutely. You can pull it up, and he says, Phineas B. Wheel, inspection and safety of, New York City. Sir, can you tell us where you are, sir?
Yeah, in a what appears to be a holding cell, sir. And inspection and safety, which both sound like... I think neither of us want to be having this conversation right now as I continue to hear the sounds of what I can only assume is the actual Ferris wheel ceasing to be that.
Wait, how do you know it's the Ferris wheel? Sir, have you been to the Ferris wheel at all today?
No. I've been at the cold storage facility. I have... Mr. Collins and Mr. Green can attest to the fact that at no point today have I been anywhere near the Ferris wheel, but I sure would like to lend my assistance, as I'm sure you also would.
Who is Mr. Collins?
The gentleman who brought me here. Sir, I really think there are more important things we could be discussing right now, such as the permeating sound of metal on metal that continues to assault our ears as we speak.
You can hear someone else approach, and it sounds like kind of an older gentleman. Says,
Mr. Wheel. Phineas B. Wheel?
Sorry, I wasn't talking to you.
Oh.
Sorry.
But could you be, sir? I'd really love to talk to anyone other than...
I heard this was an urgent matter. Is it actually very urgent? Because I am desperately needed elsewhere. We've got some very heavy PR mess to deal with. Because I don't know if you can hear, but the Ferris wheel has stopped working. This is going to be very bad for a multitude of reasons. The other person says, yes, sir. Gerald brought this guy in from the cold storage. Apparently he was messing with refrigerators, and he seemed to know the Ferris wheel was going to break before it did. So I don't
Sir,
know
with all
what's
due respect, I don't mean to contradict, but we can all hear what could only be the Ferris wheel breaking right now. I don't think it was too much of a supposition.
Yeah, there isn't other metal structures. How did you know? Sorry, sir. Clearly this interrogation is for another time. But I highly suspicious. I would agree. And sorry, Mr. Harrison, yes. I understand. Yes, of course. I will say yes. Clearly, something has gone wrong. And it's important to find everyone who's responsible. But yeah, I agree. Absolutely suspicious. We'll keep a very close eye on him. Yes, sir. You can hear the other person sort of like walk away. And the attendant standing outside, he says, look,
Gerald, was it? No, Gerald brought me here. Yes. Gerald, Mr. Collins, Mr. Samuels, yes. I did not know the Ferris wheel was gonna break. I came here from New York under suspicion that the cold storage facility primarily, but a number of the things here might not have been structurally sound or safe. I'm here to help. Can I make a persuade roll or anything to get out of this room?
Yeah, give me a hard persuade.
Hard persuade, okay, that is, I have a chance.
Stop using the metal dice.
Do you want different dice?
No. I failed that persuade roll.
How bad?
95.
That is a critical fail.
Is it?
Yep.
So Call of Cthulhu, a critical fail is 95 to 100, and a critical success is a 1.
Right, so...
It's just 100 is a special...
I'm not getting my badge back, am I?
He says, Mr. Wheel, I'm gonna hold on to this for you, and I think...
Sam, you could almost say Wheel is my middle name, but it's really my last name, but I promise, like me and the Wheel, we could... I'm not helping my case.
That's the first thing you've said that's made sense today, Mr. Wheel. I think you should just sit down and get some rest, and there's definitely going to be someone along to talk to you shortly. you know, it's very serious what has happened here with the Ferris wheel. I mean, I don't even know the full of it, but I can hear the screaming from here. And so we're going to get to the bottom of this, and I just would suggest that you cooperate. And as you're sitting there, you start to smell the scent of smoke on the wind.
Cool. I'm gonna stay silent and try to listen for him eventually just leaving, because I figure it might be an all-hands-on-deck situation.
Incredible. As the smell of smoke comes, you sense that all your worst fears might indeed have come true. And that's it for this session of Chicago Fae. Join us next time as we figure out what happens to everyone. This has been a Twice Rolled Tales production. You can find us on Instagram, on Patreon. All the links are going to be down below. And follow us for more. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.